Hello everybody and welcome back to Out of Body's 31 Days of October. Today I'm going to be talking about Libertyland in Memphis. Now this theme park is technically non-existent anymore, but I still thought it was significant to talk about as for a long time it was abandoned. It stood vacant for a long time, and it also had its supposed hauntings, so I thought it would still be interesting to talk about. So if you guys want to hear more about that, just keep watching. So Libertyland was a theme park that opened in Memphis in July of 1976. It was 22 acres in total, and it had 14 rides, 10 games, 7 dining areas, 16 food carts, 3 stages. Of course it's Memphis, it'd have to have a music stage, or 3. Apparently the theme park was designed in 3 different sections that represented the different eras of American culture, those 3 being Colonial Land, Turn of the Century Land, and Frontier Land. Now, a couple of the most popular rides that were in Libertyland included the Zippin' Pippin roller coaster, which supposedly was Elvis's favorite. He went to Libertyland a lot. I know that from asking people that live here, and my mom that grew up here, and my uncles. Apparently Elvis would actually rent out the entire theme park late at night, and so he'd have it to himself and with his friends, so that was pretty cool. And actually, a lady that I worked with, I used to work at FedEx when I first moved here, and a lady that I worked with there said that she used to work at Libertyland when it kind of first got started, and she was a teenager, and she said that she frequently saw Elvis there, like she got to meet him and everything, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. So that's just a little fun fact for you. So the other popular ride in the theme park was the Grand Carousel. Now the Grand Carousel is what has a urban legend story attached to it. Now some people swear that the urban legend is true. I have not really had a chance to go deep into research with it and to find any news stories about it if it really is true. There are a lot of people that say that it isn't true, so I don't know, but it's interesting anyway. The lady who wrote this book swears that it's true, so I'll have to look that up for myself. So according to the urban legend, there was a teenage boy that was working at the theme park and helping run the carousel, and apparently a little boy that was riding on the carousel had a balloon, so the balloon kind of flew away and became trapped at the top of the ride. The teenager that was working the carousel decided to try to climb up there and get it, but he didn't turn the ride off, and so somehow he ended up trapped in the gears of the ride, and he was crushed to death and passed away. So it's a very, very tragic story. According to this book, this event happened only a couple months after the theme park opened. And she actually has the name of the kid in this book, so that makes me think it is true. Apparently he was 17 years old, and he was an assistant carousel operator, and his name was Mike Crockett. He died after getting caught in the main gear of the ride. Apparently he used a step ladder to climb up to the main gear of the ride to reach the balloon, and then his clothing got caught, I guess in one of the gears, and then that's how he got crushed, got pulled in and crushed. Apparently he was found hanging from a beam inside the main gear housing. So again, very, very terrible, very tragic, awful event to happen in the theme park. So supposedly, after this tragedy happened, it actually got taken to court because there was a lawsuit brought against Libertyland for not making the carousel operation safe enough for a worker to work there. It was actually a $2 million lawsuit. Apparently the lawsuit ended in a mistrial after only 1 week of the trial because the judge felt that his docket was too crowded, and also that the jury term in his court was soon ending. So I don't know a whole lot about law. I'm not sure what all that means. You guys probably know better than I do, but that trial never got finished. So after the tragedy, the theme park did stay open for another 30 years and then ended up closing in 2005. I believe they may have closed it on other occasions temporarily in between there, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But it did close officially in 2005, and it remained just abandoned for a lot of years. So the 2 main rides in the park were eventually moved somewhere else. The Zip and Pippin roller coaster was sold to Wisconsin and is now in a theme park in Wisconsin. And I think they have some kind of a sign on it that it's, you know, like in memory of Elvis. It was Elvis's favorite ride, so they have kind of a memorial. The Grand Carousel, however, is still in Memphis. It's not in the location where it was in Libertyland. From 2005 to 2015, it was actually kept in some sort of storage, but now it is actually housed in the Memphis Children's Museum, which I did not know that, so I'm going to have to visit there just to see this carousel. The carousel itself is very, very old. It was actually built in 1909. It was originally used in a park in Chicago, and then Memphis purchased it in 1923 and moved it to Libertyland, and you know, the rest is history. So back to the tragedy that happened. Supposedly after that happened, and especially when the park was abandoned, apparently if you went there, a lot of people could sense the spirit of the teenage boy who passed away. So apparently if you're there, you could feel his presence. Some people would hear someone walking around. I don't know that anyone actually saw his spirit or not, but people claim to just be able to sense him there and hear noises and things. There was never any bad vibes or anything. It was always good. It was always a good feeling. I feel like the boy really, really loved the park and maybe just remained there because he really did enjoy it, despite the unfortunate thing that happened to him. From what I've read, people that could sense him there, it almost seemed like he was still working there. Like, it makes me wonder in a way if maybe he realized that he died or not. I would think in that sort of tragedy he would have realized it, and maybe he did, but he just wanted to stay there. Or he didn't realize he was dead and he thought he needed to continue working there. So people mostly reported sensing him at the carousel, but then other people reported sensing him throughout the park, that he would kind of walk throughout the park and just tend to the park and tend to the customers and everything. Again, I don't have a lot of detailed information on that as far as if anybody saw him or not. I would love to at some point maybe interview some people that used to work there. I wished I had thought of that when I worked at FedEx and talked to that lady that worked there. I could have asked her, but yeah, that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I find the story really interesting. I'll have to try and visit the Children's Museum and see if I can take a look at that carousel. It was completely restored when they put it in that museum, so it looks completely different now, I'm sure, than it did back then. But nonetheless, I'd still like to see it. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you have a great night, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.